same. Gonna live my life and die as a Jew. As a Jew, as a Jew. I got nothing to apologize to you. I'm a son of Abraham. I believe in the promised land. Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? Noah built the ark. Moses went up on Mount Sinai. Daniel made it through the lion's den. With a little faith in God, they all made it through their troubles. 'Cause a little faith in God will always win. And it's true, and it's true. I got nothing to apologize to you. I'm a son of Abraham. I believe in the promised land. Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? I don't want to change my name. I got nothing to be ashamed of. Got no secrets from you. I came in the world this way, and I'm going out the same. Gonna live my life and die as a Jew. As a Jew, as a Jew. I got nothing to apologize to you. I'm a son of Abraham. I believe in the promised land. Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you?
Welcome to the Howie Silbiger Show on the True Talk Radio Network. Get in on the conversation. Call 1-877-669-1292.
And hello, my name is Howie Silbiger, and this is the Howie Silbiger Show right here on the True Talk Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you being here, and I'm happy to be here with you. This whatever day it is of quarantine that we're living through. I am so happy to be here, and I invite you to call in. The number to call in North America, because that's what the number is 1-877-669-1292. That's 1-877-669-1292. And you know, when I say in North America, I do a show on Israel News Talk Radio. I do it on Wednesday nights and Wednesday mornings, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, midnight Wednesday, and they have two numbers: a number for North America and a number for Israel, and I get mixed up sometimes. So if I say the number to call in North America on this show, it's just because my head is already into that show. But here we are, still in quarantine, still living the life, living the dream. A few days before Passover, living the dream. All right, we're coming up to Passover. We got to talk about Passover a little bit and how difficult Passover is going to be for certain people. There are people who are going to be alone this Passover for the first time ever. People who are stuck by themselves. I have to tell you that I have empathy for people who can't be by themselves, people who get lonely, and people who can't sit around and do nothing. I'm not one of those people. I have no issue being alone. I have absolutely no issues at all. Being by myself, it doesn't bother me at all. But some people it bothers greatly, and I feel for these people. I really do. I really feel for them. And I'm hoping that somehow, a miracle happens, and this all comes to an end sometime really soon. Although it doesn't look promising. It doesn't look like we are getting out of this anytime quickly. Unfortunately, it doesn't look that way. And that's very unfortunate. For the first time ever, this is happening. And we're living in a time where people want to have that interaction. You know, it's funny because before this all started happening, people were like, "Leave me alone, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I want my own space. I need my space. Why can't people just leave me alone?" People were screaming before this happened. And then suddenly this happens, and now everyone's like, "Oh, I want to be together. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we all hang out?" It's amazing how the world changes so quickly, and how things change so quickly in the world, and how we take for granted things that we have that we just take for granted. For instance, how many of you took for granted the fact that we go to the supermarket, the fact that we could go shopping and buy whatever we want, the fact that we have the freedom to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, without risking fine and punishment for doing it. But here we are, living in the midst of a pandemic, living in the midst of a medical crisis, and our freedoms have been taken away from us. We are living alone. We are walling ourselves off from other people. We are not allowed going out. We are not allowed to do many of the things. I don't know where that came from, but thank you. We are not allowed to do a lot of the things that we normally are allowed to do. And here we are, sitting together 2 days, 3 days before Passover, and thinking that the Passover Seder this year, for many of us, is going to be extremely different. We are not going to have our families. We're not going to have our friends. It's just going to be immediately the people living under your roof, sitting at your Passover Seder this year. It's a very different experience, very different way to do things. Now, I know people have been telling me all week that this is a very unique Passover. This is a Passover that we haven't seen since the times of Moses. People are telling me this week, but I could only imagine that the people who lived during the Holocaust experienced Passovers like this. The people who were hiding out in attics and in basements and in caves were living Passover like this, where they were afraid to celebrate Passover. They didn't have people coming over. Didn't have big parties. Look, the truth is that we are living in a time right now where we are safe to participate in whatever religious service we want to participate. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He was lamenting that his Easter is ruined this year, and he was telling me that he has grandparents who are in their 90s, in their mid to late 90s. This might be their last Easter, and he's not going to be able to spend it with them. This affects everyone. I know I focus a lot on Jews on the show, but it affects everyone, and we have to be cognizant of that. We have to be aware. We have to be aware of that. That we're tied up in our own little personal bundle. We're tied up in our own little personal problems when we look at what we have to do and how it's affecting us. But there are many other people that are being affected far more than we're being affected. And we tend to not pay attention to that in general, because inherently, as human beings, we're selfish people. Now, I'm not saying that we're selfish that we don't put ourselves out. I'm not saying we're selfish that we don't go out and do stuff for other people. What I am saying is that inherently we're selfish because we care about ourselves more than we care about anyone else. And I'm talking about me, and I'm talking about you, and I'm talking about everyone. Because in general, that's the way we behave, because we are all human. And human beings behave that way. It's a very unfortunate byproduct of being a human. And so here we are, on the eve of Passover, literally almost there. And Passover commemorates the escape of the Jews from bondage, the escape of the Jews from captivity. And we're all sitting captive. We're not sitting captive to an enemy that's persecuting us. We're all sitting captive to the same enemy, Jews and non-Jews alike. All of us are sitting captive to the same enemy. The same hostage taker has taken over the entire world. And here we are. How are you handling this? I know I've asked this question every show that I've done. I've done a few shows since this pandemic started. And I'm going to ask the question every time I get on. Because as we get into 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and who knows when this is going to end, nobody could tell me. Nobody's. They told us the mid-April. Now they're telling us May. My guess is going to be July or August. So we're going to be stuck in this for a long time to come. So my question is, how are you handling this? Are you? Does this scare you? Does this whole situation scare you? I mean, it should. If you're a normal person, you'd be a little scared about this situation. But does this situation really scare you? Is this one of those situations where you say, everyone's overreacting, but I have to do this anyway? Or is this one of those situations where you're saying, oh my gosh, I must stay at home. I must do what they tell me to do because I want to survive. I tend to fall into that category. I like to live. I like to survive, and I tend to fall into the category of the kind of guy who will say, "Well, look, I want to stick around because I want to survive. I want to live to see tomorrow. I don't want to be stuck in a hospital on a ventilator." As I know, there are many people who are in the hospitals, and we wish them a speedy recovery. Many people in the hospitals on ventilators. People I know are in a hospital on ventilators. So, I'm hoping and praying that they get a speedy recovery, and that none of us, not you, not me, not any of us, end up in the hospital. But we all know that is a distinct possibility, as this virus is spreading and spreading and spreading. The only way to avoid that, I'm told, is social distancing. So I could talk to you over here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on the True Talk Radio app, but I can't talk to you in person standing close to you. I mean, we could stand 6 feet apart and yell at each other if we really want to, but standing close to you and standing face to face with you, sitting at a table, breaking bread with you, or in the case this week, matzah with you, we can't do that. That's a huge change for a lot of people. 1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. 1-877-669-1292. I want to know if you, how are you dealing with this? Is it hard for you? I mean, a lot of people have kids at home and they're trying to prepare for Passover and the kids are under their feet. And I understand that certain schools have online learning, other schools don't. It's not really consistent because this was all just foisted on us very quickly. And so we're stuck in a situation. And I want to know from you how you're handling the situation. Now you could call me 1-877-669-1292. You could type into the message boxes on YouTube, Twitter, on Facebook, and I will get the messages will pop up to me, and I'll be able to address them off the social media. Here's a message on one of the boards. Can't say Kaddish for the very first time. There's no minyanim. There's no quorum of men praying where you could say Kaddish. You could say the prayer for the dead. So if your father or your mother's death or your sibling's death comes up at a time where we're in pandemic mode here, as we are right now, you can't say the prayer to commemorate your parents' death, your loved one's death. And that's very hurtful for some people. Some people, it's extremely hurtful. I know, speaking for myself, my father's death happened in around June time, so just after this, and we might still be in a pandemic. So I might be in the same position as the person who posted, that I won't be able to say the prayer either. This is going to be a long time. We are in the midst of a battle for survival. Now, I don't need to be cynical. Maybe I do. I'm a pretty cynical guy. But I was told for a long time that the biggest threat to the world is global warming. This is what I've been told for a long time. But I've never been forced to stay at home for global warming. I've never been forced to hide from my neighbors and friends and to not talk to people. This is quite unique. Yes, it's a war. They're calling it a war. They're calling it a battle, a war. And yeah, it's true. It is a war. It is a battle, and it is something we are going to win. But there will be a lot of casualties, unfortunately. There's already been a lot of casualties, and there will be a lot more casualties as we go. So what's the best way to protect ourselves? What's the best way to protect our friends and family, and the best way to handle this? It's quite simply following the directives of the government, staying home, and not mingling, going out only when it's absolutely necessary. Washing your hands. I don't understand why we have to tell humans that they have to wash their hands. This seems inherent to me that every few hours I wash my hands. Now I'm washing them a little more often these days, but every few hours, even before this, I was washing my hands. Are you telling me that nobody ever washes their hands? How disgusting is that? It's pretty revolting. And then they shake my hand. That's fairly revolting. So I'm glad that hygiene is high up on the list of things that we should be doing to counter and save ourselves from this virus. Hygiene is very important. We should be doing that anyway. So I'm glad that people are learning hygiene. I am very happy that people are learning how to take care of themselves, how to wash themselves. Now, people are freaking out. And I don't blame them. I don't blame people for freaking out at all. And when people freak out, they tend to turn on each other. And we've been seeing a lot of that lately. Now, if you've been watching and paying attention, and I have been watching and paying attention, you've noticed that there are many people who are turning in their neighbors and turning in their friends and demanding action being taken against their friends and neighbors because they feel they're putting the world at danger. By going out, by taking a walk, by bicycling, by doing whatever they're doing, they're putting the world at danger. They're raiding synagogues because Jews, of course, have become the scapegoat of this whole thing. You read articles, you look at newspapers, you watch the news on television. Jews have become the scapegoat of the coronavirus, which is infuriating, if you ask me. And I know nobody's asked me, but you're watching the show or you're listening to the show, so you've asked me. And I'm telling you it's infuriating. It infuriates me, the fact that Jews have become the scapegoat of this. The fact that, unfortunately, there are small pockets of the population, tiny pockets of the population, not representative at all of the attitude or the instructions or the actions of the rest of the population, that have thrown the Jewish community into a micro-focus of the media and Jew haters who have continuously attacked Jews for the last few weeks. Now, I complain about this a lot, that Jews get attacked. I complain about this a lot. It's my job. This is what I do. But it is absolutely, unbelievably crazy that this is happening in a free and democratic society. Absolutely unbelievable and unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. And yet we sit around and we allow this thing to happen. We allow it to happen. We don't stand in the way. We don't stop it. We don't complain about it. We don't write articles, and we're not very vocal and about complaining about this, as we should be. I mean, I sit here and I talk about it, but then when I post up on Facebook or I mention it in conversation with other people, they tell me, "Howie, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Howie, you're nuts. You're insane. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's not true. You're just trying to stir the pot. You're bored. You're trying to find something to talk about. You're trying to gain ratings," they tell me. As if that will change anything here on this network. You know, I have I've been doing the show for nearly 30 years, and I've had on the show some really high profile guests, and I've had some really not so high profile guests, and I've done the show alone for decades, and the end result is that 30 years ago and today, I haven't made a penny on the show, and it doesn't matter how many people are listening. So raising the idea of doing this to raise my ratings is absolutely ludicrous because I don't care. That's the honest truth. I don't care. I don't care what the ratings are. I do this show because I think it's important. I do this show because I know a lot of people listen to it and people find it important. I do this show because I want to do this show. I don't have to do this show. And since nobody's paying me to do this show, I do it on my own volition, and it costs me money every time I get on. But I do it because I think the stuff we talk about on the show is very important. I think that that we have to talk about the issues that we bring up on the show. Now Mark and Sheldon, who are on the show regularly, don't make any money on the show. Nobody makes money. It costs me money. That's it. The show costs me money. So I'm not doing anything for ratings. So when I bring up an issue on the show, it's because I care about the issue. It's because I care about the community, and I want to bring the issue up because I care about it. Simple as that. There's no other ulterior motive. And that's the honest truth. Now, I know I put up this Patreon, support us on Patreon. You see it. You see it online. I mentioned it throughout the show. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Howies. And you can support us, but I think only one person has donated $9. So we're not talking huge donations on Patreon. But that's fine. Because I'm not stopping to do the show because we're not making any money. That's irrelevant to me. What the relevance to me is that we have stuff to talk about, and that's what we're going to do. And one of the things that one of the things I want to talk about is how do you combat the loneliness of this horrible, horrific situation we're in. We're living in a horror movie. We're living at least in one of those thrillers, something like Contagion or one of those kind of thrillers. We are living in that. And how do we go about extracting ourselves from this? How do we go about surviving this and coming out at the end of this sane? That's the main question. How do you come out at the end of this sane? Where does sanity work into all this? Does it work into all this at all? And that's really the question I have. I mean, that's really the crux of the questions I have for you. Feel free to call in 1-877-669-1292. That's 1-877-669-1292. I have to tell you that the food services, especially for Passover food, have been more than gentle. I've placed my Passover orders online, and they've been delivered. And you know what? It was less painful than running out to buy stuff. I'm healthy. I could have run out and bought the stuff, but it was much easier and much healthier to not run out and buy the stuff, to have the stuff delivered, and thank God they did. For the last couple of Shabbats, I've ordered my bakery on the telephone. It's been delivered to me, and you know what? I had a problem with some of the bakery that was delivered this week, and the bakery replaced the stuff without even arguing. Which is unbelievable, because I think during the regular year they would never do that. But during this pandemic, everybody has been bending over backwards to help everybody else. And I really appreciate that. And I was ordering, I'll tell you what bakery it was, because I think they deserve the plug. They served, they delivered, they charged their price, and it's not cheap, but they delivered quality food. And when there was an issue, and there was a major issue, they replaced it, and they fixed it, and they didn't even argue. There was no argument. There was no discussion. They just did it. Chesky's Bakery in Montreal, amazing place. Feel free to order from them. They're not paying me to do this, but they earned it. And so here we are. We're sitting together. Sheldon Fried will be joining me in just a few minutes. We're sitting together, and we're wondering, where do we go from here? How could we possibly have a Pesach Seder and not have family and friends around the table with us? How could we possibly sit here and do a Seder by myself? How can we do this? How do you do this? For the first time in my life, and the first time in many people's lives, how do you do a Seder by yourself? How do you get motivated to do something like that? How do you get motivated to stand and continue doing the things that you do. I mean, I've been doing shows all week, 3 times a week. I've been doing shows, which is really what I wanted to do to start with. But now I'm actually doing shows 3 times a week because I have all the time in the world. How do you motivate yourself? How do you get up in the morning and motivate yourself? I know those of you who have kids, your kids are really a motivating factor. I get that. But in general, is it hard to motivate, to get yourself rolling? I've never had a hard time motivating myself. I've always been motivated. So I've always had, my brain has always been, all right, get out of bed. Let's get this day started. This is what I have to do today, and just go out there and do it. So how do you motivate yourself when you know that you're kind of stuck? When you know that no matter what you do, you can't pull yourself out of this situation. I mean, it could be depressing for some people, and I hope that people don't get depressed. But that's something that could be happening. Got a message on one of the chat boards. People will sneak in. The Hasidics for sure will pull shots as they don't care. That's not true. That is absolutely not true. This is what I was talking about right at the beginning of the show. This anti-Hasidic, anti-religious Jewish idea that somehow the Hasidic Jews are these people who don't care about their lives and they don't care about other people's lives. They're just going to go out and do it because they don't care. It's not true at all. The Hasidic community has been except for certain pockets, like little pockets, the majority of the Hasidic community has been extremely, extremely good at following the conditions of the quarantines and of the self-isolations. They closed the synagogues immediately. They closed the schools immediately. Everything was closed immediately. There's certain pockets, certain nutcases who haven't, but the majority of the Hasidic community has done that. So to make a blanket statement that the Hasidim for sure are going to go and break the law, that's not true. Not true at all. And it bothers me when people say this because I don't really differentiate. And those of you who have listened to the show for a long time know that I don't really differentiate between one kind of Orthodox Jew and another kind of Orthodox Jew. We're Jews. Orthodox Judaism is Orthodox Judaism. So one wears one uniform, one wears another uniform, one wears a third uniform. Doesn't matter what clothing you're wearing. Jews are Jews, and we're all one. So when you insult what's called the Hasidic community, you're insulting the entire Orthodox Jewish community. And to make a generalization like that really bothers me. And like I said a couple of days ago when I got onto the show here, I fought all day about that a couple of days ago. And I will continue fighting the fight because it is wrong. It is wrong to condemn an entire segment of the Jewish population for the actions of 1 or 2 or 3 little pockets of people who do whatever they want anyway. Every segment of society has those little pockets of people who don't listen to authority, and it's no different in the Orthodox community as it is in the Catholic community or in the Indian community or in the Hindu community. There are certain people who will not follow the rules no matter what you say. And so there are segments of Orthodox Jews that don't follow the rules. There are segments of non-believers that don't follow the rules. There are segments of secular Jews that don't follow the rules. There are segments of people everywhere who aren't following the rules. So to pin the blame on the Orthodox community, to find them as a scapegoat, just kind of gets me. That gets under my skin. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people do stuff like that because it's wrong and it's unacceptable. Simple as that. 1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. 1-877-669-1292. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is the Howie Silbiger Show right here on the True Talk Radio Network. In just a couple of minutes, Sheldon Eric Fried will be joining me right here on the show. We're connecting. We're going to connect with Sheldon through. We always do this anyway. We're going to connect with Sheldon through Google Hangouts. We use Google Hangouts on the show on a regular basis. We were ahead of the curve when it came to that. Sheldon, we were ahead of the curve when we came to that. A couple of minutes. Wait a second. There's something going on here. There's a little problem in the system here. Why am I getting that feedback? That's weird. I mean, we had that last week too, but this is strange. So give me a minute. I will figure it out, Sheldon. So give me a minute and we'll get Sheldon on. That was weird. I figured it out. I know why that happened. I know why that happened. I got it. I fixed it. And now let's see if we could get to Sheldon. Sheldon should be. Problem in the no, why am I getting that feedback? Still getting that feedback. Wow. I thought I fixed it, Sheldon. I thought I fixed it. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Let's see. I want to get Sheldon on. We're getting the feedback. And I can't get Sheldon on while I have that feedback. So how am I going to fix this problem? There's one simple way. I will have to take a break and try to work this out and figure out why I'm getting this kind of feedback when I try to put Sheldon on the show. So you know what? We're going to take a little break. When we come back, hopefully, God willing, if the Lord wills it, that's what will happen. Sheldon Eric Freed will be joining me right here on the Howie Silbiger Show. I need, I do. Daniel Inayat today, who's our financial guru on the show for the longest time, just messaged me and said, you need Dominic Ferriton, who was one of my producers at Radio Shalom when we were on Radio Shalom. Yes, I do need Dominic. Dominic would figure this out immediately. But let me work on this, and I will take a break. When we come back, the Howie Silbiger Show will continue, and hopefully we'll have Sheldon. That's the goal. That is the goal. Whether it happens or not, we'll find out right after this short break. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is the Howie Silbiger Show. We're heard live on the True Talk Radio Network, and we will be right back.
Network. Talk to Howie. Call 1-877-669-1292.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to try to connect with Sheldon again. Sheldon, Eric Fried.
Howie, call.
That's okay. So I don't know why that's happening. Let's try this one. No, that's not it. All right, so I don't know. There's something feeding onto that line, and I have to figure out what it is. So Sheldon, hold on. We will be with you in a minute. I don't know what's going on. It's so strange. Very weird. All right, I'm Howie Silbiger. This is the Howie Silbiger Show right here on the True Talk Radio Network as we try to get Sheldon Fried onto the line, and so far we've been unsuccessful. So far we have been a little unsuccessful. So let's try this. Okay, I'm trying different things. We're going to get this working. Trust me, it'll get working. Very weird. Sheldon? All right, I'm Howie Silbiger. This is the Howie Silbiger Show right here on the Radio Network. You see, that's what's happening when I try to put Sheldon on. That is very strange. That should not be happening. Because we have the system. The system has a little bug in it, and I'm not sure where this bug is coming from. And so I do need a technician, but unfortunately we are in quarantine, and the technician is not available. Give me a second, and we will still try to figure this out. Yeah, okay. Okay, and we will do this. Let's try that. Okay, let's try again. Where this bug is coming from? That is still going like that. All right, all right. Let's try this. Yeah, okay. I know this is very exciting for people watching at home. Extremely exciting. But we got Sheldon on the line. Sheldon,
okay, you can hear me loud and clear because I can hear you perfectly.
I hear you now. You see, I didn't need a technician. I figured it out by myself.
Okay. Way to go. Okay.
People watched me figure this out.
Okay.
Oh, but you see, there's still an echo going on here. I still hear an echo. But we got Sheldon on the
You know what this reminds me of? You remember when we were doing the Google thing? And we were talking, all of a sudden Google was repeating back everything you and I were saying?
Yeah, I remember that. That's exactly what's happening right now. All right, Sheldon.
Yes, Howie.
One second, I'm going to try something else. Okay.
You know what this reminds me of?
Oh, wow. Okay, now everything's in...
And we were talking, all of a sudden repeating back everything you and I were saying?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening right now. All right, we're going to hold on for a second. Yeah. Okay, we just got a message. What's better than one Howie, two Howies? That was more like five Howies. Okay, we're trying to figure this out. I actually tested the system before we came on, and I wanted to make sure that everything worked properly, and apparently it does. Oh boy, that was funny. Let's try this again. Are you ready? Let's try this. I'm ready to try it. Are you ready to try it? I know you are. Nope.
No, sir.
No, sorry, Bob.
This reminds me of a show that I once heard, and I sent it to you. And it was yes or no, sir. It's happening again.
Oh, my gosh. This is terrible.
For people who love psychedelic sounds, you're getting them now, whether you like them or not.
No, sorry, Bob. Oh, all right.
Oh boy.
I
Well, we're gonna get ratings, that's for sure.
I'm just trying. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. All right. I might have an idea. I might have an idea.
Well, also you're streaming on Facebook. I wonder if you got Facebook's audio open.
I do not have Facebook's audio open. That's for
Okay,
sure.
you don't. Okay.
Not in this machine.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
All right.
It just kind of reminds you of what's going on, and you're getting it 2 or 3 times.
This is really weird. I don't often, Sheldon, I don't often share this stuff with the audience. They're really getting an inside view of what goes on here sometimes.
Believe it or not, whether or not we want them to hear it or not.
Oh my gosh. All right. You know what, Sheldon? Let's disconnect and we'll try to reconnect. Maybe it's just a connection.
All right, you got it. Okay,
right.
bye.
I don't often share this stuff with the audience. They're really getting an inside view of what's going on. All right, there's something seriously feeding back into that machine, and I have no idea why it's feeding back into that machine. It shouldn't be, but apparently it is, which is extremely odd. And I'm trying to connect with Sheldon because that's what we do on Sunday nights. We talk to Sheldon, and it's not really working all that well, as you could probably tell. I don't normally troubleshoot while I'm live on the air. This is not something I generally do. So I do appreciate your patience and your understanding and you laughing along with me because this is hilarious. So I'm glad that you're laughing along with me I just have to. I'm just checking everything to make sure that everything that's supposed to be muted is muted, and everything that isn't supposed to be muted is not muted. All right, let's give Sheldon a shot again because why not? We'll try Sheldon again. Let's see. Oh, now it sounds like it's working okay. Sheldon Eric Fried.
That's me.
Hey, look, it's working.
It's working. Well, you know
How
what?
about
I
that?
think I know exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I know exactly what happened.
It's your fault.
You want to know what my theory is? It's not my fault.
What's your theory?
The theory is because Just for Laughs is postponed till September, October of this year.
Yeah.
People have a thirst of comedy, and because the weather's starting to get nice, we have to provide our own comedy to our listeners.
Well, that was kind of funny.
So I think that's you. I think you had a secret plan in mind, and you said,
Yeah.
"Well, look,
This was all
seeing that we're
pre-planned.
not going to have this summer Just for Laughs, and maybe in the fall, our purpose is to entertain our listeners, and you came up with a perfect formula, and that's what you did.
So you're saying this is all pre-planned? I planned.
Absolutely, it's
I planned the feedback.
psychedelic version of the Howie Silbiger Show, 60s version.
So I planned the feedback. I planned this whole
Yes.
thing out. Is what you're saying?
You have. And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
It sounded so real. It almost sounded like you did not think you did this.
Yeah, sometimes I surprise myself with my talent.
You see, and that's what the listeners have to, if people want to know what goes on behind the scenes, this is part of what goes on behind the scenes. Yeah. See, we have a meeting on this, and then we do it every once in a while to keep people on their toes.
Oh, so this was all scripted?
Absolutely.
I think I missed that meeting.
Well, no, you see, that's the thing. When you have a long-suffering producer of the show,
right,
you have to read the script that I give you.
Oh, you see, that's where I went
you
wrong.
See, that's exactly. And then
I skipped over the pages that said feedback for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Those pages I skipped back
now
up.
I
skipped up.
Now you see the script I emailed you.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Now I see. Sheldon emailed me a script earlier today.
Yes.
And page 6 of the script says feedback for 5 minutes. So,
and if you notice that, it
we
was actually
succeeded
put in bold letters and in red.
That's right. So
underlined.
We succeeded in the feedback part of the show.
Yes.
We're not going to win the Oscar for sound engineering this week.
Oh, no. That wasn't designed to win it. That was just designed to keep people on their toes.
I see. I understand.
You see?
I understand. But I found the problem. I solved the problem.
You see? Okay.
So I should get an award.
That was in your page 7 of the script, saying that you were going to find that problem. You're going to wait till 5 minutes.
An award for solving the problem.
Exactly.
I should
You
be.
see that was on the bottom of page 7 on the script.
That's true. It was.
And that was highlighted in blue. You see, so
So ridiculous.
so how are you doing after all this
Well, you know,
interesting?
I needed a good laugh today, and thank God my setup here gave me a good laugh. That happens occasionally, more often than not on the show.
Well, you do this. We have a lot of stories that we share, sometimes some on and some off the air, and boy, it's hysterical stories. I even said you should write a book on this.
Yeah, and you know, I now I have a lot of time on my hands. Maybe I will.
And believe you me, because some of the stories you told me, I'm telling you, you think like it was coming out of a fiction novel, and no, we've seen it with our own two eyes and experienced it.
So the telephone line does work, though, by the way. So people could call 1-877-669-1292 if they want to talk to me in Sheldon. You could do that because the line works.
And it's no feedback.
No feedback on the line. No. That's not in the script.
No, that wasn't supposed to be on the script.
It's not scripted. Scripted feedback happened already.
The feedback was only supposed to happen between us connecting and everything, and then establishing the psychedelic part. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. We were going after the people who were tested with LSD in the 1960s.
Exactly. Perfect.
That was our aim, and I think we succeeded, Sheldon.
After them playing some Woodstock tunes, they decided to listen to a psychedelic part of the show, and they succeeded.
That's right. So there you go.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm happy to be a part of that. I'm happy
Well,
to have
that's
been
the
a part
thing.
of that.
That's the thing when you have a producer sending you the script. That's the whole idea, is for you to be a part of it. You being the host of the Howie Silbiger Show.
True. And it's very true.
Radio.
So my friend Dave just posted, in the accent of a country that will remain unnamed. Sir, did you try to reboot your computer?
You're talking to me, or?
Well, that was just posted.
No, I did not reboot.
That was a comment that was posted. It was a joke, Sheldon. A joke.
Ah, okay, a joke.
It was a funny, Sheldon.
Okay, it was a funny. Okay, it was a psychedelic reboot.
I understand, Sheldon Freed, that you are a little older than me, and sometimes the humor doesn't translate between generations.
Here we go with the gender.
Get it.
Here we go with the gender generation.
I understand. I understand, Sheldon, that sometimes over the generations, sometimes humor doesn't translate well.
Howie,
and once you have to start explaining a joke, then it's not really all that funny anymore.
Howie, that wasn't in the script.
I know, but I go off script a lot. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I've noticed
I
that.
tend to not follow scripts. I mean, that's just the way I am.
So getting into this crazy topic at hand, especially what's been going on with the COVID-19, how are you able to get by on your days? Like, what's your average day like now that you have more time on your hands than you thought you ever would have time on your hands?
Well, my schedule is fairly busy. I'm a pretty busy guy during the week, and I'm generally you can't reach me, right?
I know your secretary told me that a few times when I tried to reach you.
Yeah, I know, and generally it's very difficult for me to find 10 minutes to do anything during the week.
Yeah, I spoke to Heidi, and she told me, Heidi, your executive secretary.
Yeah,
she
but
said, "Oh my God,
she hasn't been here in a long time because Corona."
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I had schoolwork. I'm finishing off this degree. I had my last couple of projects I had to finish. So
boy, now you must have more time on your hands to do this.
Well, yeah, I finished them all off. Everything's done today, so it's all finished.
Oh, muzzle tough. That's great.
Thank you.
And just before Pesach, too.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to have to worry about it during Pesach, so I just finished everything now. It's all submitted, and now I just wait for my degree. So tomorrow I have a meeting, an online Zoom meeting with my supervisor, and after that, it's all done.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. Hope everything turns out well for you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And what have you been doing to fill your time in your place?
Well, putting together some different radio shows and sending demo tapes to clients. And I'm trying to work on that. I'm also trying to work on a book myself, but not the same book that you're planning to work on.
I'm already mostly finished the book I'm planning to work on.
Yeah, so I'm going to be trying to do that. Plus, I'm doing my online training, not online training course, but my employment training course. I have a lot of computer assignments that I'm going to be doing too, and the teachers have been absolutely amazing at the center. They've been reaching out to all of us, and so I have a bunch of assignments to submit as well. And also for recreation, I take a lot of walks by myself, and it's just amazing around this area that people are respecting social distancing. So I have to give kudos to the people in this area that, for the most part, people are respecting. The kids are not going onto the playgrounds. The city is cordoned off all the situation. And, this Wednesday Seder, my brother is going to do it virtually through Zoom.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's not going to be the whole Seder. It's going to basically be just, the reading, the Seder plate and everything. And once we get into the meal, we'll go our separate ways. But the first little bit for the Seder, we're going to be doing that. We had a Friday night kiddush that we tried to do like a rehearsal type of thing. Right. So my brother got a few people on because he has the premium Zoom account, which you can have, I don't know, God knows how many people. So we were on for 15, 20 minutes from different people from all over, including my sister from Ottawa with her husband and myself and my niece and everything. So it worked out really, really well. So we're planning to have a virtual Seder on Wednesday night. It's still not the same as being physically with family.
You're
but
still sitting by yourself in your house.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like you said, I heard what you said on the air. For all of us, these are really completely unprecedented times, and it's going to be very strange to eat a Passover meal here by myself.
Yeah.
And it's very strange. And but I'll have to say one thing: the Jewish community has been absolutely amazing. They've been sending me meals, and I was able to get like kosher meals I have for the next 15 days in the freezer.
Amazing.
And soups from the nearby Jewish Community Center, and the administration from this building, because I'm in the Jewish community, and they were reaching out practically once a week. They've been calling people to see how they're doing. It's incredible what they've been doing. So kudos to the administration to this building. Kudos to people reaching out. And if anything, I like to think that the glass is always half full. I think if this taught us anything at all, it taught the most important thing of really communicating with family and friends and loved ones, where people, before this wouldn't have the time. And I think now it's teaching us a very important lesson. Not that I obviously wanted this whole thing to happen, right, but it really taught us in terms of the value of reaching out. And could you just imagine years ago when we wouldn't have internet and all these video conferencing? Could you imagine how lonely people would really be? And the fact is, to try to get orders from the grocery store.
Yeah, seriously. Even now, even with internet, it's hard to get orders from the grocery store. Dino Mazzoni, our friend.
What a wonderful man.
He posted up, Chag Sameach to each of you, Howie and Sheldon, wishing you this greeting in advance of your first Seder this Wednesday. Thank you very much, Dino.
Thank you so much, Dino. Hoping you and your family are safe and are healthy. And as long as you guys are together and you support one another. And thank you so much. Dino's always been just a wonderful friend for the both of us. And he's just an amazing person.
He's a wonderful person to start with. So, being a wonderful person means that you're a wonderful friend.
Yeah, he has a heart of gold, and he's just an amazing person.
1-877-669-1292. You could talk to me and Sheldon. We'll be on for a little while. You could talk to us. 1-877-669-1292. We want to hear from you how you're handling this. Are you lonely? Because if you're lonely, we're here to talk to you. Sheldon, sometimes you got to reach out like that.
Well, that's the thing. I reach out to everybody in my family every day. My sister every couple of days because she's in Ottawa. So it's, and also she's doing a lot of work from home. My brother, who's a doctor, he's doing work from home unless he has to go in for emergency surgery.
Right.
So he'll go. But other than that, he has all video conferencing, all telephone calls, everything from his office at his home. My kids don't have school. My girlfriend, who teaches English as a second language in a French school, she's off until now, May 4th. My employment course is off until at least May 4th, but I doubt very much we're going to go back on May 4th because we haven't even stopped the curve yet.
I really don't think that the kids are going back to school this year. I think the school year is effectively over.
That too. Yeah.
I'm a school teacher too. I teach high school, and I'm fairly sure that the school year is effectively over.
So I'm wondering what's going to happen with the students and how things are going to play out since there are not going to be any final exams. I'm just wondering, the Minister of Education is really going to have his work cut out for him.
I'm just thinking to my grade 7, 8, 9 classes that I teach. I teach them 3 subjects each grade 3 subjects, and I'm thinking that evaluation situations. I've only had the semester had just started when this all broke. We had just put in the grades for the last semester, and we had just started the last semester of the year, and there wasn't really enough time between when we started the semester and when school stopped to do very much in grading or in anything, right? It was basically a week between when I submitted my grades and when the next semester started, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, eventually they're going to ask me, hey, you gotta give them grades. You got to put something into the system, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do that? Like, what am I going to base the grades on? You want to be as as honest as possible, and you want to be as you want your integrity to stand still, right? To hold on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But how do you do that, right? Sheldon, we got a call now. I'm not sure if it's a real call. We'll find out in a second. Hi, who's this? All right, you see, it's not a real call. Every time we do the show, there's this old guy who's prank calling the show continuously.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah. So.
I really have to say one thing, and I know there's been a lot of things locally in the news as far as the Jewish community is concerned, and I know that a lot of people have used the Jewish community as scapegoats.
Yeah.
And I was very, very upset with the whole situation. And I heard what you said earlier, and I couldn't agree with you more, because there's people from all walks of life, all faiths. Some will listen and some will not listen. But to put everything in one basket, really, honestly.
Yeah, it just drives me crazy. Did you see those? La Presse is guilty of this continuously.
La Presse has always been notorious for knocking down the Jewish community. This is nothing new with that paper. Nothing new with that paper at all. And it doesn't surprise me in the least. And you know what? I think it's time for media to be responsible and to grow up, because media is supposed to be about the facts, not about your political convictions. And I think you and I have grown up with that, and you and I were old school when it came to journalism, and we did the facts. Even no matter what your political views or my political views may be, that's completely irrelevant. We get the story, we ask the hard questions, and we get the facts, and we report those facts. And we do not slant them because an owner of a media wants you to slant it in terms of his or her favor. We get the facts, and we ask the hard questions. We get the answers. If we're not clear of the answers, we'll clarify by asking follow-up questions. That's what responsible media is. And if La Presse is going to badmouth the Jewish community, I'm sorry, they shouldn't even be in the business, because that's not what fair reporting is all about. It's slanted, and it's disgusting.
I agree, but I also have an issue. And I hate to say it, but I have an issue with the Jewish community too. I don't hate to say it because I've been saying this for years. I have an issue with the Jewish community too, and I have an issue with the city of Côte St. Luc. I'll be honest. The mayor of the city of Côte St. Luc, Mitchell Brownstein, who I happen to be friendly with, he stoked the flames of hatred when he kept continuously and perpetually pointing at the Chabad of Côte St. Luc that had 3 cases of the coronavirus after they held a wedding a day after social distancing was implemented in Quebec, and he kept pointing at them and pointing at them and pointing at them, and every time there was an article printed on CTV, like CTV's website, they would print it with a picture of the Chabad of Côte St. Luc. And every time there was an article, it didn't matter what they were talking about. If they were talking about coronavirus and Côte St. Luc or the West End, there was a picture of Chabad of Côte St. Luc and a picture of the inside or the outside of Chabad of Côte St. Luc. And you know what that does? You know what that does to the average reader or the average person listening and watching?
It really taints their opinion.
It tells them that these are the people who are responsible for coronavirus. And that's really what happened. So when Lionel Perez, his daughter, got engaged and he practiced social distancing, he had a a musician on the driveway, and he was in the house, and the musician was playing while he was in the house, and nobody ever met. Okay, the optics of that, it was probably a mistake optically to do something like that during this time.
Yeah.
But okay, fine. We're not talking about his judgment. Okay, lack of judgment doesn't really matter. I don't care. Okay, that's irrelevant to the context of what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
I posted up that hey, look, he followed the rules of social. He followed the rules. He followed the guidelines. The guy was in the driveway. He was in the house. There was nobody else around. There was nobody put into danger by the guy playing music in the driveway and him being in the house. There was no chance of cross contamination, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said he was following the rules of social isolation. And I posted up on my Facebook just the other day. I posted up this, the musician that was there, Yo Eisenstark. He had posted a response. I posted up Yo's response plus a little bit of commentary. You know the way I do it. I put a little commentary and the article.
Yeah, exactly.
The responses, I tagged Lionel Perez in that post, and the responses I was getting from Lionel Perez's followers on his Facebook page were the most disgusting stuff. Some of the most disgusting stuff I've read in a long time. People of your caste, people of your tribe do this. You don't care about the other people. Just generalization, like general Jew hatred. And it just came out so clearly that the non-Jewish world, we tend to live in our bubble of the Jewish community. And it came out just so clearly that there are so many people out there who hate the Jewish community just because they're Jewish, not because of what they did. Look, if anybody else who wasn't Jewish did what Lionel Perez did, it probably would have blown over in a day, right? This was front page news on La Presse for 3 days. So I mean, this is because he was Jewish, no other reason. Everybody else would have forgotten about it a day later. Look, we're all self-absorbed and we're all into our own hell here, right? So nobody cares about Lionel Perez. The only reason they care about Lionel Perez is because newspapers kept pushing it. So let's be honest about that, okay?
Also, he's in the public eye too. So they take
that,
and they take the Jewish religion. They take him, and they take the fact that he's in the public eye. 1, 2, 3, three strikes, you're out.
Exactly. But one of the strikes is the fact he's Jewish, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I just got a message. Brian says Mitchell has been doing a great job as mayor. So as his councillors, you should have had him or one of the other councillors as a guest. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I wasn't criticizing Mitchell Brownstein and his skills of being mayor of the city. I wasn't criticizing Mitchell Brownstein and his skills of running this problem for the city at all. I was saying that Mitchell Brownstein pointed fingers at Chabad, which led to more Jew hatred of Chabad and Orthodox Jewry. That's all I said. It wasn't a criticism of the way he functions as city mayor. It was just a criticism of his one action of pointing fingers at the Chabad, and thus promoting hatred against Chabad and other Orthodox Jews. That's it.
I think the thing that really gets my goat, though, and this is to anyone, and I repeat, anyone with a capital A here that goes and gets big public demonstrations in parks, in areas like our city mayor had to shut down one of the most iconic historical sightseeing places in Montreal. There was an incident whereby in Sherbrooke that the security guard was run over by a car because he was not letting a person go through the parking lot because the parking lot was maxed in a Walmart shopping center parking lot.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what? I know people are very nervous. I know people are very, very anxious. I understand it. But you know what? I know we're going to get through this, but you know what? People have to listen. Stop having parties. Okay? And this is directed to anybody.
Are people still having parties? I don't think anybody's having parties anymore.
Well, no, there were people that were having parties.
Only in the first couple of days after the pandemic started, after the government started cracking down and started limiting gathering. It was only 2 days. 2 days.
Let me ask you this.
Come on.
Let me ask.
After that, nobody's had parties.
Well, you know what? It was recently that a pastor of a church in the southern part of the United States still wants to hold Easter services.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's now. That's not when this thing first happened.
That's true.
When this thing first happened, got government directives, Howie. You didn't go into public gatherings, and neither did I. Am I right or am I wrong? As soon as the government gave that kind of a warning and was saying about social and physical distancing, you and I obeyed the government directives. You and I have always obeyed the government directives.
Okay, we just got
and health authorities.
We just got a message from Renate saying, yes, people are still gathering for minions and getting together in small groups. All right, but that's a minority of people. It's not the majority of the community.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Anybody who's doing this, and it doesn't make a difference if you're Jewish, if you're Catholic, if you're Protestant. No, I don't care what you are. Okay, it's important. Health trumps everything.
I agree with you.
And that's what people have to
and
remember.
Every rabbi across the world has agreed with you.
Exactly.
And every priest across the world has agreed with you, except for those couple of minor, except for a couple of small little pockets of I call them idiots. I've been calling them idiots all week.
Well, that's exactly what I've been calling. Most people are obeying. I mean, in my area, when I took a walk yesterday, everybody was practicing social distancing. There wasn't more than 2 people at the most. There was a mother and her child on the child was on a bicycle, and the mother was just watching him, and that was it. Wasn't on the playground. Was just on a path. Nobody was in groups of gathering. There was a couple that was sitting on 2 separate benches, not even on the same bench. So I could see people are practicing social distancing in my neck of the woods. And that is what we need to do. But anybody who thinks it's a joke, and then you get these conspiracy theorists, Howie?
Oh, come on. Don't even talk about that. I have a show on True Talk Radio that airs during the week on True Talk Radio. I generally don't listen to it. It's not one of my favorite shows. I air it because, we have a contract to air it, and we air it, right?
Okay.
But I listened to the show the other day, and he had 2 guys on. One of them was Frank Carvalaro from CTV.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And they were talking about they were actually exposing conspiracy theories, and I just shut it down. I took the show off the air. 'Cause I won't condone that because look, people are scared enough as it is, right?
Yeah.
To promote more fear in people just doesn't sit well with me. Why are we trying to,
Well, that's the thing. There was a person that was texting me, and she was telling me it's a new world order. I said, "Come on, police." And there's no biological or chemical warfare. Come on. I mean, this is garbage. This is a virus. We will eventually get through the virus. It's a terrible thing that it struck. And people were killed out of it. If it was biological warfare, you wouldn't get these statistics. You would get in the millions, the tens of millions.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Sheldon. The estimate is after all said and done, there's be a few million people who are going to die from this.
No, but I'm saying if it was biological, chemical warfare would be way, way more.
Okay, I don't even entertain these stupid conspiracy theories.
And one death is one too many anyway. That's the way I look at it.
All right, our listener Dave typed, it is small pockets of idiots that are making the government or authorities to take stricter measures. Look what happened at the Jewish General Hospital, all because of one idiot. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. These small groups of people who are defying common sense and, in my mind, are suicidal or homicidal. They're not even suicidal. They're homicidal because they're trying to kill other people because their actions are going to be the they're going to be the direct cause of the death of other people.
And this is the thing, too, when people are saying about washing their hands. And this is something, my parents instilled that.
Sheldon, did you wash your hands before this?
You're darn tootin' I wash my hands. I take 2 showers a day and wash my hands. And every time I come into my house, I wash my hands. So I always did that.
So I don't understand.
And when my girlfriend and I went away to Aruba, we still took this hand sanitizer because every time I would go on a plane, I would take hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes anyway. I would do that anyway. It's common knowledge. There's other people that sit on a plane. They sneeze. They cough. This was way before COVID-19.
Yeah. So why are people having such a hard time washing their hands?
Like me, it's like child's play. It's like this. I make sure my keyboards are clean. My mouse is clean. Anything I touch, my cell phone, anything that I touch, I make sure it's clean. You know, like, and all of a sudden, you know, and now people have to be reminded to wash their hands.
It just seems ridiculous.
It's preposterous.
Yeah. And they put up all these signs everywhere. This is how you wash your hands.
There's even videos that are coming on that are streaming on. There was a Beatle version of "I Want to Hold Your Hand" is wash my hands, wash your hands.
I learned how to wash my hands when I was in nursery, Sheldon. They taught me how to wash my hands. In kindergarten, they reinforced how to wash your hands. And I've been washing my hands my entire life.
Told me, you don't sit down and have your dinner until you wash your hands with soap and water. Right. And not just 5 seconds. You wash your hands with soap and water for at least a minute.
There you go.
And you know,
imagine
you
if they would have.
Imagine
if they would have told people. They're telling people 20 seconds now. Imagine they would have told people you have to wash your hands for a minute, Sheldon.
I do it anyway. I do it for a minute. I don't just. I mean, I don't time myself in terms of looking at my watch to see.
You don't put on a stopwatch or a timer.
No, I mean,
come on, Sheldon. You're not doing it right. Then you're not doing it right.
No.
Do you sing a song? Because they're saying that people should sing a song to ensure it's 20 minutes.
You mean 20 seconds?
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what?
Do you sing a song, Sheldon?
No. I just
Sheldon, you should be singing a song.
Oh yeah, no, I basically.
Mary had a little lamb. Come on, Sheldon.
Oh, if you want to sing it, go ahead, my friend. Let's hope the feedback doesn't occur again.
Oh, we can start that up again if you want.
Oh yeah.
I know what happened, so I know how to turn it back on.
Oh, you do know what happened. Oh, you got to tell me off air what happened.
I figured out what happened. Yeah.
Okay. But how's your mom been doing? Holding, as far as she's been concerned.
Everyone's fine, thank God.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's like amazing. Like yesterday, I took a walk. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and I just had this just amazing piece. Sat in the park bench for about 5-10 minutes, taking in the sun. Got up, and it was so quiet. It was so peaceful. It was nice. I mean, at least the weather's starting to be nicer in these neck of the woods now.
Yeah. So summer's coming. And the reason I know that we're not getting out of this till at least July, August, Sheldon, is they canceled all the festivals. Now,
well, I kind of figured this was going to happen anyway because you're talking you're talking about the Formula One, which I'm sure it has not been officially canceled yet, but that's probably going to be the next thing. Jazz is definitely canceled. Just for Laughs, however, is postponed until the end of September, beginning of October, and I doubt very much that's going to continue.
Look. By canceling these festivals, they're taking $1 billion out of the economy, right? So that won't happen unless they're sure that this is going to spread out, and this is going to be a long-term thing. So I mean, we're looking at this. We're in this for the long haul, Shell.
Well, also if you think too, because all the borders and non-essential travel is being. The borders have been closed except for essential goods and services. But at the same time, you get people from these festivals that come from all over the world, and from some countries that have way more COVID-19 cases per capita, and to bring them in here, like it would be like a second or third wave, and that would be devastating. So then you have to figure out in terms of $1 billion for the economy versus how many people could wind up being in hospital. The stress of our physicians and the people, frontline responders that take care of all of us. And I really got to say to all of the people that are in frontline responders, grocery people and emergency services, we cannot thank you guys enough for everything you're doing. The Jewish community that has reached out and gave the people in the Jewish community meals and support. Many thanks go to all the people that are responsible for all this, because without you guys, we would be at a loss, a terrible loss.
I find it amazing. I worked in grocery stores for years. And when I worked in grocery stores, I always had I have multiple university degrees. I've had university degrees since I'm 20 years old. So I've had multiple university degrees. And I was always working in grocery stores. I was doing other things and working in grocery stores, right? And people who knew me used to come over to me and say to me, Howie, you're so educated. What are you doing working in a grocery store? Like, why are you doing this job, right? And I used to always say to them, why are you looking down at me? I choose to be here. It's not that I'm forced to be here. I choose to be here. This is a conscious choice I'm making to work in these jobs, right? I happen to enjoy the job or whatever. I mean, there were many reasons why I chose to do that at the time. And so, why are you looking down at me? And he used to always say, because it's beneath you. That's always the answer they gave me. And I always got pissed off by that answer. And it never sat well with me. That's beneath me. These people work to the bone to make sure that you have the food that you eat.
Exactly.
They work hours, they lift heavy boxes, they stand and they work in dangerous conditions sometimes, putting stuff on shelves and standing high up in the air or whatever else. They do stuff that's very, it may be unskilled, but it's very dangerous. Just so that you could have food on your table. So why would you look down on those people during regular times?
Well, I got an order yesterday, and the person was like, had the mask on, almost looked like he had a hazmat suit on, like gloves and everything, and he was very, very nice. And I said, look, I really want to thank you so much for your wonderful service and your dedication to make sure that we get our groceries and everything. And he says, we don't get a lot of thanks, but it's this is what we chose to do, and we want to help people. And I thought that was a very touching and warm answer.
These people are standing in grocery stores with the public coming in, and they're serving people with the chance of they have a higher chance of getting infected than anybody else.
Sure. Because we could be at home. These people have to be in the public all the time.
They're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of people a day. They could get infected as more than anybody else more than any other job, more than a firefighter, more than a police officer, more than anybody else. People working in grocery stores, cashiers and baggers, and all these guys working in grocery stores have a bigger chance of getting infected than anybody else because they're exposed all day, every day. Okay? And they still show up to work. These are my heroes.
Yep.
And I'm not ashamed to say that. Look, the nurses and the doctors that go out and face exposure too, those are heroes too. But that doesn't take away or diminish the fact that the people taking care of food and dealing with the public while taking care of food during a pandemic where a highly contagious disease is being spread rapidly through contact with people. Heck, these guys who show up to work every day, you got to give them credit.
They really are unsung heroes, and they all deserve our utmost respect and gratitude of the job that they do every single day, 7 days a week. I mean, I know that the government here, local government, is shutting down grocery stores for Sundays.
Yeah.
But even on Sundays, many cases they have to restock shelves.
Yeah.
They have to make sure the supply chain and everything is in. And it's really, really difficult. Like you said, they're under extremely difficult conditions. The people that are picking orders, they're working day and night. I mean, the biggest problem is that only a select few grocery stores are doing this online, while the two biggest grocery stores in the area are not. And they're doing it strictly for pickup. So if you don't have a car, you either have to rely on someone to pick up the order or go and do your shopping for you.
Right.
And, I think that's my only complaint that I do have for the stores that are not offering, because it puts the stores that do offer so much pressure. And when you try to go on the website, like you said, it keeps crapping out.
Yeah. And Sheldon, I forgot to mention, these people also have to clean the stores.
Yeah.
After everybody's touched everything.
They have to clean, they have to disinfect, they have to take stuff off the shelves, disinfect the shelves, disinfect the cash registers.
Yeah.
Disinfect the carts.
1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. 1-877-669-1292. For me, those people are heroes.
Oh, they'll always be heroes.
And I thought they were heroes before this whole thing started, because I worked the job, I understand the job, I know what they do, and I still think they're heroes. And people think I'm crazy when I talk like this.
I think the thing is, you have to put yourself in their place. Now, you being in that situation, you do put yourself in their place. And I put myself in their place to the point that even though I never worked at a grocery store, I know friends that are doing it. I obviously know you have done it, and I know what you're up against. And, and I think that you guys do a fantastic job, and you do. And, in many cases, in many people, they don't get the best pay for it. They do it because they want to do it, like you said. You want to do it.
Sheldon, I think we get paid a little better here on this radio show than they get paid in the grocery stores.
Yeah, I mean, I know they don't make a lot of money.
We make
and-
no money here, Sheldon, and I
Yeah.
think we get paid better than they do. They get paid nothing.
Yeah, it's funny how people do ask if we actually do get paid for the show,
Yeah.
and I could tell you that none of us get paid for this show.
Nope. Nope. In fact, it costs me money every show.
Yeah,
You know, I pay for the show. I don't get paid for it. I pay for it.
mm-hmm.
Which doesn't bother me. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I've been doing this for so long that I'm just happy.
Well, you
to
do
be
it.
here.
You do it for the passion, like you said. It's not that you have to do it; it's you want to do it. There's a big difference
Of course.
when you want to do something versus you have to do something.
Definitely a big difference. Imagine if you're forced to do. I mean, a lot of people are forced to do stuff that they don't want to do. But
Oh, yeah.
I thank God that I've never been in a position where I've been forced to do something I don't want to do. I've always had the option to choose.
And as long as another thing too is as long as you like what you're doing and you get well treated, that sometimes means more than actual money, because you could get paid a lot of money and you could be miserable at your job or get treated like trash.
It's true too.
So it's all
I've been there and done that too.
I was lucky that when the radio station I work with on call, my boss is a prince. I've never worked with such a nice, down to earth person, like a real prince. And I've worked with other people in radio that have not been nice.
Yeah, so you're lucky.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky, and it's the same thing when you're working in a grocery store. You get well treated, and let's say people do thank you and you enjoy what you're doing. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And you do what you have to do, and that's it. Or you do what you want to do. Look, we all have choices in life, right?
Yeah.
So I don't work in grocery stores anymore. I did for years and years and years. I try not to work in grocery stores anymore. It's not that I've outgrown the job. It's just I've gained interest in other stuff that I'm trying to do.
Sure.
And so you can't do everything, right? So
Well, you're a person of very many branches, Howie.
I really am, and I get bored very quickly. I mean, it's surprising I'm still doing radio, to be honest.
You know what? I'm not.
I get bored really quickly, and I move on from stuff like quick.
Because the thing is with radio, though, because radio always evolves. It's never the same. And topics change all the time. Music changes all the time. Personalities change all the time. So and plus now the real value now of online radio is even more important than it ever was before.
Well, you do realize that True Talk Radio was was a pioneer in online radio.
Exactly. So that should give you like so much, like it must be amazing because it is the pioneer, or was the pioneer of online radio. And now technology is never going to be tested the way it is going to be tested now and in the future.
We were radio station number 3 in the world when internet radio started. We were the third radio station to set up. So there was a station in New York, and there was a station in New York, there was a station in California, and then there was True Talk Radio. Number 3, and I happen to know the two other guys who set up the 2 other stations, and they convinced me to set up this station. That's why I set it up.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you do speak to them. Okay.
Well, at the time, they convinced me to set this up, so I set up True Talk Radio. When I first started True Talk Radio, we were still connecting through dial-up.
Oh, okay.
And the radio station was only on the air for a certain amount of hours a day because it was very expensive. And then as broadband came into effect, we expanded to 24 hours a day. And we've been 24 hours a day for, 20 years.
I think one time when you really get a long opportunity, you should tell people how this whole thing got started. True Talk all got started.
Well, if they really want to know, they could Google. They could go to YouTube, and they could look up an interview I did with a guy on YouTube where I explained the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
But we could do it on a show here too if you want. I mean, that doesn't
Sure.
really-
Well, yeah, I'd be interested, and I'm sure a lot of the other listeners that listen around the world to us.
Not right now, but we could do it. We could do
No.
it.
In the future, something to think about, and something a little bit later on in the topic section, whatever.
Hey, maybe we could flip the show and Sheldon will interview me.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Sheldon's not so gung ho about that.
Oh yeah. I could see this happening, and then all of a sudden, feedback. Then you're going to be sending me the script. Okay, yeah,
I
I
didn't.
got that.
If I don't like the question, I could always just cut him off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sheldon, where'd you go? What happened to Sheldon? I don't know what happened. He just disappeared.
Well, you know what? This whole thing is taught me a lot of things, really, about the value of communication and the use of technology. And I'm sure after this whole thing is said and done, and hopefully to be sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more people that'll work at home than they've ever did before. And because they're going to like working at home so much, and the technology allows them to work at home. I mean, look, you and I do our show from separate locations from our respective homes. We've been doing it ever since, I mean, yes, when we were at the other station, Radio Shalom, yes, we were in the same studio together. But since then, when we left Radio Shalom, and we've been doing this now from our homes, and I do another weekly show, rock radio show, classic rock radio show. I do it from home. We don't do it from a studio. I don't have people sitting next to me.
Well, wait a second. I built a professional radio studio in my home.
No, but I'm saying I'm not in the studio
here,
with
Sheldon.
you.
I built a professional radio studio here.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it. I mean, hopefully one day I will see it. But but I'm just saying, like we what I'm saying is we do our radio shows from home.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we do.
So I'm not with you. You're not with me. And when I do my classic rock radio station on Wednesday, I'm here by myself at the same studios I'm doing with you. And if anybody interviews me, I'm here at home. I'm not in a studio anywhere. So it's and a lot of people now, even from commercial radio, are now doing their shows now from home.
Yeah.
And so it's really a test of a lot of technology.
Hey, look, we've found the technology to make this show work. I'm live streaming video of the show. I could probably, if I really wanted to, put you live. Put your webcam up on the screen here too, and we could talk to each other. Like in the split screen, like they do in the news channels. But I think it would look stupid, so I don't do it.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But you know what? It's amazing now what technology can do, and now with a lot of these video conferencing, and like you said, we hook up through Google Hangouts, and it always seemed to work. We were doing it through Facebook or Skype before, but there's a lot of different alternatives in video conferencing now, and there's going to be more stuff coming out all the time. And I think we just really went into the technological revolution more than we ever expected to go at this time.
Yeah, well, we've been doing this a long time. And I'm happy doing this. I really like the way this sounds. I like the way it looks. I like the way it sounds. I like the challenge of making the show better and better using the technology we have available to us.
Yeah, well, that's it, and it always improves. And computers always improve all the time. And look, now we're walking around with our cell phones. So I mean, whoever thought 10, 15, 20 years ago that the cell phones were going to be as much in demand? Cell phones are now selling computers for. Yeah, to get online now. So anything is possible.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's what it is. I mean, we're blessed that right now we need technology more than we ever needed it before.
And do you think that the government's eventually going to come around and start giving people rebates for working at home, like tax rebates and whatever else? We'd be able to write off your house and your mortgage.
People can still do that anyway, because if people were, let's say, self-employed or an entrepreneur, they're able to do that anyway. So it's not really that far-fetched, but of course it has to be proven that you are going to work from home and you're not just using it as a tax haven and then you're working at another company and then, like working somewhere else. So, I mean, I could see it happening, but I'm sure there's going to have to be a lot of measures put into place so people don't abuse the system.
Yeah, I hear you.
And again, I have to say this, I have to say kudos to the governments in Canada and province wide that, these are unprecedented events for everybody here, never mind them. And they've been put in a situation that they never thought was going to happen. And I really think, and I've always said, if people agree or don't agree with the government, let's all get together and let's do the right thing and stay safe. And then we'll worry about then people worry about their political differences afterwards. Because when everything is said and done, it's about everybody trying to get out of this unscathed. And unfortunately, there were too many people. Like I said, one death attributed to this, like any other death, is always one too many. Never mind the amount of deaths that occurred here where we live and all around the world. It's horrific. And like you said, it is going to be in the millions. I mean, look at New York City, where 15% of their police force was stricken by this COVID-19 virus.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And now Central Park is now a makeshift hospital.
Yeah, it's terrible, terrible, terrible.
And
What's
it's,
happening in New York
like,
is terrible.
I don't care if people hate Trump or they love Trump. It's all up to everybody to obey government and health authorities, listen to them, and practice your physical and social distancing. And for people who haven't done this before, wash your hands.
Soap and water, 20 seconds. Not that hard. All right, Sheldon, that's it. We're out of time. Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care. Stay safe, everyone. Be good.
Yes, and stay home. And that's the key thing here. Stay home.
And a healthy and happy Passover to everybody with your families, even though you may not be together with them. But always, you have the love, you have the health, and just be good to one another and stay safe.
All right, we'll see you again after Passover. We're going to take a little time off for Passover. We're not. Maybe we'll do a show in the middle. I don't think so. I think we'll see you after Passover.
Okay.
So
take care of yourself.
Until then, I wish you and yours the very happy and kosher Passover.
Same to you and your family.
And I hope that you stay safe, stay home, wash your hands, follow the government guidelines, and let's get through this together. Because if we ignore the government, if we ignore the guidelines, we're just going to make ourselves and everyone else sick. Stay safe. I'll see you soon.